President of B2C Fitness, and today we're talking about another progression for our lower body exercise. So we've done squat in previous video and all the modifications that come with the squat, including a ball wall squat. We even did dumbbell squats. Now we're going to talk about how to switch it up, progress in both load as well as stability in our dumbbell or kettlebell front squat. I'm going to have my friend Laura come out. She's going to help me demonstrate this exercise. So the first thing we want to make sure is that Laura has good form. We don't want to go ahead and overload a compensation pattern. So we're going to put her in her alignment. Remember our kinetic chain checkpoints, so her feet are going to be parallel between hip and shoulder width. We're going to have that first or second toe pointing forward ideally. And I'm going to have her, just to start, put her hands behind her head. We're going to kind of check things out here. All right, Laura, let's see a squat. That looks pretty good. Laura's been fighting a little bit of lower leg dysfunction that we've been working on. You guys see a little bit of a wobble, but it looks pretty good. Let's see one more that way. Good. Let's have you turn sideways. As you guys might have remembered from your assessments with the squat, we want to make sure that she's not going into an anterior pelvic tilt. We don't have an excessive forward lean. Once again, those are two patterns that we don't want to overload. Good. We see she has just a little bit of an excessive forward lean. Like I said, we are still kind of working with her lower leg dysfunction. Good. Let me see one more. Okay. But Laura's pretty strong. She's been working on her squats. She's been doing her dumbbell squats. She had been doing her ball wall squats, which we'll show again here in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and progress her. Now, a lot of you guys have probably seen the dumbbell side squats. Let's see those, Laura. Just hold the dumbbells from the side and squat them down. And actually, the next logical progression, you might say, would be a back squat. Unfortunately, I know a lot of you guys don't have a small enough squat rack to get a body bar in it, and unless Laura's going to only do squats with a body bar and her trainer to lift it on her back, I need to come up with something that's a little bit more convenient for her to increase load before I stick her into a squat rack with a 45-pound Olympic bar. That would be kind of a huge jump in load there. So what I'm going to have Laura do is start working on a front squat. So Laura, let me have you go ahead and pull these up this way. All right, I'm going to have her turn to the side so I can show you what you guys are looking at. You can have them touch the dumbbell to the front of their shoulder. That's fine. The thing you want to watch for is that she's keeping her elbow, her wrist straight, nice firm grip on the dumbbell, and keeping her elbow underneath the dumbbell, so we have this nice triangle with the forearm almost perpendicular to the floor. All right, she's going to have that on both sides. She should feel pretty strong and cradled in this position. She's going to draw in so that she's not leaning back. Kind of always try to get people thinking as if, if you were a football lineman, right? How would you hit somebody, right? You'd hit somebody with your fist tight, this nice little cradled position. I kind of want that up here. So once we get her into this position, it just becomes our normal squat mechanics again. We're still looking for tibia-torso angle being the same. We're still looking for our kinetic chain checkpoint. So let's go ahead and see that, Laura. Good. Nice and slow. Let's go down for 2. Little hold at the bottom, and then squeeze your glutes and thrust your hips forward on the way back up. Good. I have noticed more and more people, as I start searching through YouTube, start talking to more and more professionals, this thrusting the hips forward to get the glute activated is actually a very common cue, and I think you guys will find it extremely effective for getting the glutes involved. Now, if I wanted to increase stability a little further, I could have her do a unilateral front squat. So I could take one of these away, have her put one hand on her hip. I'm going to have her go ahead and turn forward towards you guys, because now the most important kinetic chain checkpoint thing to watch for is I don't want her leaning one way or another. I don't want her shifting at the hips one way or the other. Now she has to work really hard in her core to keep symmetrical. So let's go ahead and see that. A little tough?
A little tough, yeah.
Good, good. From here, of course, we could add, as far as the stability progression goes, we could go ahead and add something like an Eric's pad, or we could add Dynadiscs, or maybe even a balance board for some of our more advanced athletes. Now, a couple more things, guys, on this front squat. Obviously, a 10-pound dumbbell. Some of you guys who are strength athletes, I know you can use much, much heavier weights. You guys might wonder why I'm not using a bar. Laura here is not a power lifter. If you guys are practicing for your sport, that's fine. You guys need to work on that front squat mechanic. That's your sport. I understand that. From a performance enhancement standpoint, from a sports performance standpoint, from a recreational workout person who's just trying to meet their goals, it actually takes hypermobility of your wrist flexors to get into a barbell squat position. This is going to propagate a common postural dysfunction in the forearm that involves extensor dominance and underactivity here. So unless you have a sport-specific reason, guys, stay away from the barbells. Stick with dumbbells, or we even worked a little bit here with a kettlebell, although this is less comfortable for Laura, but a kettlebell works out pretty good the way it cradles in here. I think you guys will find that these feel great. Now, I had mentioned that this is a progression I use going from a dumbbell squat to a front squat. Once again, going back to my strength athletes, this is going to be a progression actually from the back squat. If you're just talking about all-out stability, a back squat is probably more stable than our front squat mechanic. So if you guys have been doing your 135-pound squats and you want to take it up a notch and require more core stability from yourself, go ahead and try your front squats, and then your unilateral front squats with either a dumbbell or a kettlebell. Once again, you guys can do, let's go ahead and show them real quick a ball wall squat. So if Laura was coming in and let's say she hadn't seen me in a while, we hadn't done any work on her lower leg dysfunction, and she did have that excessive forward lean caused from her lower leg dysfunction, I could set her up on this ball to ensure that she didn't need quite as much dorsiflexion, and I could keep her tibia-torso angle even, and I could still go ahead and have her do this front squat mechanic. Go ahead and hold the inside. Guys, it helps to hold the inside corner of those kettlebells, and then you guys can actually bring your fists a little closer together. Good, let's go ahead and see that. And she's going to sit back as if the ball wasn't there. It's just giving her a little assistance, and then squeeze your glutes and thrust on the way up. Alright guys, good. So there you have it. We went from a normal dumbbell squat to our front squat mechanic. Our front squat is a great way to progress in both load and stability. It's going to be less stable than a back squat, but probably an interim for most people because of the load required for an Olympic bar back squat.